How's it going, everybody? Upgrade Guy here. So in today's video, I have a really exciting review of probably the most expensive generic Android box on the market. Now, generic doesn't necessarily mean bad. I just mean it's just another Android box compared to the Nvidia Shield or a Fire Stick or a Chromecast. But this one is a pretty big brand name. So you're going to want to stick around and see all the excellent and amazing features it does have at its price point. So now this is continuing in our series of the best Android boxes on the market. So I've been doing reviews of, I think I've done 3 different boxes right now. And as my reviews get higher, I'll be ranking them on where they rank compared to the rest of them. And hopefully together we'll find out which one reigns the top in 2021 and which one is below near the bottom of 2021. So like always in these review videos, we'll be looking at a few different factors. We'll be looking at the durability of the box. So when we do the unboxing, we'll be looking at, what's the quality like? How is it made? What's the packaging like? And I actually do have a few extra, I have an extra accessory with it today, and it came with this wireless remote from Minix. And in today's video, we're reviewing the Minix U22-XJ from Minix, which I've done one of their boxes before, and they are excellent boxes. But this one really is quite pricey. So it is around, I would say, $200 USD for this whole package with the remote and box. So that is the price of a Shield. So, you're going to want to see how it stacks up against that, the best streaming device on the market. And let's see what it looks like compared to it. Like always, guys, smash that subscribe button down below. It helps the channel out a ton. Give this video a big thumbs up and comment down below which Android device you're using right now. Or if there's one you want me to review, go ahead and comment it down below and I will do that review as soon as possible. Let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, let's go ahead and get started with this unboxing. So as you can see, I have both the Minix U22-XJ right here, and I also have the handy keyboard remote that comes with it right here. So as I said, this is around 200 USD. If I had to estimate the value this remote would cost separately, so if you were to buy a keyboard remote, you're paying anywhere from $15 to $30 for a decent keyboard remote. So keep that in mind with the price, and that should be included when we're talking about price point of the device, of course. Like always, their packaging is super nice. You can see the wrap all the way around. It's nicely tightly packed. You don't have to worry about any damage when it's coming to you. So that's definitely a big positive of this device. Same with the keyboard remote, very nicely packaged. We'll take a look at the keyboard remote in a little bit, but let's get started with this box. Last time I did this review, I kind of embarrassed myself trying to open this. So I do have scissors this time. Like always, guys, all these devices are given away to customers, or to subscribers. So all you have to do to win this device, guys, is there's a link down below to join our brand new support page. You have to be subscribed to the channel, and you have to give that support page a like in order to have a chance to win this device, which is a $200 device. So yeah, definitely worth it. Let's go ahead and struggle to get this open here. Try to jimmy this a little bit. I am working on my camera angles, so I'm hoping eventually I have it figured out where it looks a little nicer than this, but the quality is not too bad. So you have your instruction manual right off the bat, just some basic stuff, probably basic on the specs and stuff like that and how to turn it on. So nothing we'll need today. We're going to go ahead and put this to the side. So they do have a nice little thank you message, I think, because this is such an expensive device. They're like, thank you for buying it, but we'll see if it's worth it. We'll know by the end of this video if this device is actually worth the big price point. So here it is, the Minix. Now this is a chunky box, guys. This is a thick box, like super thick. But like all their devices, Minix, it's well constructed, and it does look like a cheap device, but it feels like a more expensive one. So that is a plus side. The bottom, some sort of, I think aluminum, so kind of lightweight, but the top is like a hard, dense plastic. So that is good as well. Let's check out the rest of the contents right here. So we have, of course, Minix's signature power cord, which can be switched between countries. So it has different connectors for it. So I'll show you guys really quickly. You can see there's no connector on it right now. But when you go inside, you can see they have these different converters. And I think this is more for their sake because it's cheaper than having like EU versions of the box or American versions. So this does make it a little easier. But yeah, nice little addition. We'll put that off to the side for now. Okay, and you have the stock remote, which we won't really be needing with this package necessarily, but I'm actually not a huge fan of their stock remote, so that is some negative criticism I will give Mini X right there. I think their stock remote is just cheap looking, it feels cheap, and it feels like if I drop it on the ground, it will break. But with that being said, that's a majority of Android boxes, so let's not make it seem like it's just a Mini X problem. But luckily we do have that keyboard remote, so that should help us. You do have a nice connector, which I believe is for the keyboard remote charging. And then you have this, which is super, super important, guys. And this is one of the reasons why this box is probably a little more expensive. I'm not saying you can't get this with cheaper boxes, but it does have a Wi-Fi antenna. Now, screwing this on will improve your signal. So let me bear with me while I put this on really quickly. It will improve your signal, which is then in case going to give you a stronger internet speed, which is then going to help eliminate buffering. So not a huge feature, but definitely a very important one that if you can get a box with a Wi-Fi antenna, it can definitely help if you're having buffering issues. And then of course you have a HDMI cord, which looks like it's higher quality than most of the HDMI cords that come with Android boxes. So for the outside of the Mini X, we have a ton of USB ports. So we have 3 right along here, all USB 3. So that's very important. So really good quality USB ports. You have the power plug-in right here. So it just connects right into there, it looks like. Oh, no, it doesn't. It connects in the back there. You have an Ethernet port. You have your SPDIF port for audio. And then your HDMI, of course. You do have a power button, which not every box comes with a power button. I really, really like having that on there. And you have a little spot for a micro USB. Other than that, there's not too much else to look at on the outside of the box. It, of course, has an on button at the front, so you will see this light up as the device turns on. But other than that, that should be it for the unboxing. So for this first section of the review, I rank the Minix U22-XJ a 4 out of 5. Everything between the packaging, the construction of the device, and the accessories that come with it give it a higher ranking than most Android boxes in this section. So let's go ahead and move on and check out the specs of the device itself and see how that stands up in the market. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into our second section, which is talking about the specs of the box. Now, the first thing I should mention is Mini X, the U22-XJ. One of the reasons it's so expensive is because it does have Dolby Vision, so it is compatible with it, which is advanced 4K technology. So you can expect only the best video quality from this device. Obviously, that depends on what streams you're watching, but it's a huge feature that should be noted. I did already go over the outside features such as the USB ports, which does have 3.0 USB ports. So we won't go over that again. But now let's get into the actual specs. For the processor, it runs a quad-core Cortex A73 processor plus a dual core. So it does have two different processors in it, one quad core and one dual core. So that is a huge, huge speed advantage right there. So it's going to be able to process a lot of different things at the same time and not just rely on its RAM, of course. When we go to wireless connectivity, it does have dual band Wi-Fi. So if you have 5G, perfect. And it does run up to 1 gigabyte of Ethernet connection. So super, super fast internet. You have no worries about that at all. And I already talked about the video quality, of course. The only big downside I see is it only has 32 gigabytes of internal storage. Not a huge deal. You can simply obviously get a USB. And then it has Android 9 operating system, which is kind of a downside. It doesn't have 10 yet, but I know they do push updates. So you can expect that to be upgraded at some point. I just want to go ahead and compare this a little bit to one of the other boxes I reviewed in the past, so the X6 Pro. Obviously, there's a huge price difference between these two, but when you look at the actual specs, so you can see the RAM, the Mini X does have improved RAM. They have the same Android operating system. This one does have more storage, but ours does support Dolby Vision, which is huge. And of course, both boxes do have the antenna, but the Mini X is better constructed overall. So I would say the Mini X is going to win the advantage in terms of specs. But for price point, that's a decision you have to make, whether you want this super luxury device or you want one that's a little bit cheaper and maybe not quite as good. So for this section, I'm gonna have to go ahead and give the Mini X a 4.5. Just based off all the specs, you really can't get anything with better specs than this in terms of an Android box. The only downside to it is the price, but I did not count this into the price yet. We'll do that at the last section. So let's go ahead and look at the interface of the device and how fast it runs my internet. All right, so let's go ahead and start to look at the actual interface of the Mini X. And I have to say, this specific Mini X has a really clean interface. It looks really nice. You really can't complain. Right on the front here, you can either add apps as you want. So you just click on it and you can add whatever you want to that front menu. There's also an all tasks killer, which is super useful. So that's if you have a ton of apps open, this will close them and essentially speed up your box as well. Of course, the negatives of this box, I can already say, is you can't use the official Netflix on it. So I've talked about that in the past. I will link a video above here if you do want to learn how to set up Netflix on your Android box. So you can go ahead and click that link if you want. Other than that, we'll do our usual speed test and check out how it runs. I'll give you guys a little bit more of a look around so you can see. The Mini X does have some settings that you wouldn't have on a normal Android box, such as this MCU settings, which I believe has to do with actually locking the box. So if you do want it to be more child-friendly and lock it down to a few specific apps. There's also Mini X settings here, so you can see some different settings, such as your headsets. You can set up your headset if you have, your HDMI, of course, just typical stuff that you find on any Android box. All right, so now let's go ahead and do our usual speed test and see where this ranks. So the X6 Pro, I believe, was around 125 megabytes per second, and the Nvidia Shield is close to around 200. It was running on my Wi-Fi. So we'll see where this one particularly ranks. So you can see the ping there. This device actually would be quite good for gaming as well. So that's something to consider when you're buying it. Obviously not as good as the Nvidia Shield, but it would still be good. So as you can see, it has 184 download speed. So this means it's running my internet really well. So like I've said in the past, that's a huge feature because that's a big part of why buffering happens. So yeah, I can definitely say off that, guys, the spec and interface is pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of these Android interfaces, but this one's not bad. It's good. So I'm going to rank this overall for interface and actual box use as, let's give it a 3.5 out of 5. Just because these interfaces are not my favorites. And I think it could be a little cleaner and a little less jumbled. So now let's go ahead and get into the last part where we talk about price and our final thoughts on the box and then give it its final rating. All right, so now on to the final section, which is the price and the overall worth it recommendation of the box. So I marked that out of 5 as well. So as I said, this box runs you around 169 USD. Depending if you're getting the remote as well, it'll be around 179 USD. So it is definitely one of the most expensive devices on the market. But we've already gone through the other areas, and you can see in a lot of areas, it's way more superior than any of the other Android boxes. So in this section, just based off the price and everything that comes with it, I'm going to rank it a 4 out of 5. So yes, the price is more, but I felt like the additions of everything else and the fact that this will last a really long time raised it up to a 4. I was really between that and a 3.5. That gives this box a total score of 16 out of 20. So that is a pretty high score for an Android box. I would say one of the higher ones I've given so far. So right now, this box does rank number 2 on my list, just below the X6 Pro. When I start to get more boxes, we'll see how things move around based on the scores and based on what I think the box is worth. So this is definitely a suggested buy. The Mini X U22-XJ is a great device. I have it linked down below in the description. So if you do want to purchase it, be sure to check it out there and see if it's worth it for you. So like always, guys, smash that subscribe button down below. It helps the content out a ton, and give this video a thumbs up before you leave. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you in the next video.